soil health is our main theme. This is not something that we've just started thinking we ought to do something about. Widmer Associates back in 2013 had a major grower meeting with a lot of our clients, and we addressed the issue to our customers and said, what's it going to take to continue increase your yields? And we're talking, are we going to be able to look at 300 bushel corn? Are we going to be able to get to 125 bushel soybeans? And the other issue is we continually have to find ways to become more efficient, be able to grow our crop at a lower cost per unit. If we don't, we get not competitive. That's the nature of crop production agriculture. So let's take a look at from a nutrient standpoint. We need to get roughly 100 pounds of P2O5 and 270 pounds of K up into the plant to grow that 200 bushel. Now, what's remaining between removal of that is redeposited back into the field with the residue. So what is the difference when we try to go to 300 bushel? We're talking 105 pounds removed of P2O5 and 90 pounds of K. To grow the crop, we need 160 pounds of P and 400 pounds of K. So if we look at the total between a 200 bushel corn crop, 70 bushel bean crop, we're talking good 550 pounds of fertilizer just to keep up with removal. If we go to 300 bushel and 120 bushel beans, we're talking over 900 pounds in a 2-year rotation of just P and K and sulfur. This is not even counting nitrogen. We've all seen these charts. We're talking, in case of nitrogen, about, V7, V8. We've got a really rapid uptake over a period to where we get to R2, R3 is our primary demand curve for nitrogen. If we look at phosphorus, about 40 days after planting, look at the response curve. This is tasseling, soaking. I mean, it's just going right straight up, the demand for phosphorus. So we're talking availability in a short period of time. Water. But what do we really need in a 200 bushel corn crop? It's roughly 30 inches of water. Well, that maybe seems realistic in our northwest Ohio area, but when we go to 300 bushel, we're talking 44 inches of water to grow 300 bushel corn. If we go to soybeans, we're at 70 bushel, it's 30 inches. If we go to 100, 125, we're getting up into 40, 50 inches of water to grow that crop. So is our soil able to hold that much? Is our soil a good enough sponge, if you will? Can it residually hold that much water? And soil health is going to be a factor in its ability to do that. And of course, then on top of these types of things, we have the environmental issues. We're all aware that we are going to be under managed control for nutrients. And there's no getting around it. We don't even know fully yet what all of the changes, requirements, and so forth are going to be, but they're coming. This I wanted to show because this was a test that we ran back in 2013 when we first started working. Where are we at with soil health? We ran about 30 of these tests on different farms across Odessa County, Otto County, Wood County, Seneca County we had some. And this is just one test, but it was pretty consistent right across the board. And what we found is, here's the active bacteria, 27.5. Here's the range that we're supposed to be in, from a low to a high, 100 to 380. And so we're significantly in active bacteria below what they're claiming we should have. But then look at total bacteria. Here's 1,363 units. and range is 400 to 800. We've got a lot of bacteria in our type of cells, but it's not active. It's not functioning for plant use. So what we started directing our thinking about is, do we need something just to activate what we already have in our soils? And how do we approach that? I want to go through a few of these because I think it shows some of the trends that we have. This is 18 years of soil sampling that we've done at the company. And so it's a summary of that trends that's occurred over 18 years. So we're talking from 2000 to 2017, 18. And so it's a number of tests all done in this region by the same lab, pulled the same way. If we look at organic matter, not a huge trend. There's a gradual trend downward over the years of organic matter, but nothing huge. Look at phosphorus. Here's where the trend line has been and where it's going down to up to 2017. We are seeing a consistent gradual decrease in our phosphorus levels. And here is what this represents, is what the lab, anyways, is calling where it's getting into deficient levels. So this number is starting to narrow up here between what's considered adequate and considered to be starting to get into deficient levels. Potash, a gradual decrease, nothing really huge. And we've got a big gap here between what is considered limiting low and where the existing level is at. So from an overview of a lot of samples, our potash levels aren't too bad. We're in pretty good shape in our soils in this region. Here's pH. Again, really consistent. We do have a liming, people are liming when they get lower pHs and so forth. So pH levels have pretty much stayed the same. We're looking at roughly 6.5, 6.6 as sort of a average of all samples in our region. Look at sulfur. And what we're looking at is a very gradual decrease in our sulfur levels, which we've all been hearing about, cleaner air, taking sulfur out of the air, and so forth. But look at the trend line where it's coming to where they consider that to be limiting, or starting to get to a limiting factor. We're there. Our question is, when on any element do we start addressing the problem? Do we wait until this gets way down here and that it is a limiting factor? All I'm saying is we think we need to be addressing sulfur more than what we are. Zinc, again, we are naturally low with zinc in our Northwest Ohio region. And we can see the difference back even in 2000, the difference between existing levels and where they say that we're starting to get to a limiting factor. And this line has started getting closer and closer over the years. And here's another one, boron. Now, we're seeing some pretty drastic changes here of existing levels and adequate levels to where this thing has really come to where boron is on sampling a significant limiting factor. I just thought that would be something from a nutrient standpoint. Where are we at, and why are we continuing to talk about things like soil health?
Hey, Les.
Yes.
Do you feel that those downward trends are due to the fact that we're not applying as much? Or do you think because yield is going up so much that we're just removing more?
I think it's both. And I think another factor, which we will get into a little bit, I think our availability that is being released from the soil because of where our soil structure, soil health is at. it's not showing up on our samples. So I think it's a combination of, we are removing boron, we're not applying enough, and the yield is taking more out, and I don't think our soils are releasing as much.
I think part of it is perhaps our lack of ability too. When you talk about managing nutrients better, doing variable rate, before we maybe mix a boron in and put it everywhere. Now our ability is gone because it's going to vary.
Our variable rate application.
With variable rate applications,
Right.
you got
Right.
you know, P and K going out. You'd have to put it on one or the other. It's going to vary.
Right.
So we probably have chose to just not do it.
Right. Which is a very good point, because when we get into variable rating our nutrients, we've lost some of the ability to generalize a field of things like boron or even zinc and so forth. So what does all this mean? To increase or maintain our yields, do we need to say we need to increase our fertilizer rates? We aren't keeping up with crop removal, so we need to be putting more fertilizer on. And then the question comes, is that economical? As well as environmentally. We are supposedly under the tri-state guidelines and trying to match our needs based on a soil sample and what tri-state says we need to grow a crop. So what's being presented today is a summary of where we feel we're at, what we've learned over this past 6 years as we've tried to address this thing, the soil health. And the conclusion is we do need to address this whole segment that we call soil health, which is soil structure, soil biological activity, because without that, we're not going to get the efficiencies we need in growing our crop.